So this week, I'm really excited to have a chance to interview, a little bit of case study, a little bit of feedback from Dr. Unnatti Jain. I'm TEDx speaker, youth behavior specialist. I'm excited to also say client, friend. She's fresh off the TEDx stage. We achieved it. So firstly, Unnatti, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Adam. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So I'm going to take you all the way back to kind of, but I say before you started working with me, and when you came across me, and what was it that made you decide to commit and work with me in this process, I should say?
So it's always been on my bucket list that I wanted to do a TEDx talk. And when you came my way, you were an excellent marketing person. That's one. Your story was very, when I looked at your testimonials, when I looked at your website and looked at everything, all the work that you've done, I knew that I was in the right place. And I spoke to you. You didn't sound very pushy, but at the same time, you sounded very convincing. So I thought, yes, he's the man to go with. And it took a little bit, but I knew that if I wanted to jump into it without knowing what I'm doing is the only way I'm going to get it done. And you're the best man to get it done with. Okay.
Well, you touched on there like sort of, I suppose, almost concerns. What were your concerns in general, or what were your worries? Or because everyone has them coming in, like obviously when you were thinking and considering of actually, I'm thinking of doing this, like you say, you looked around at like what it was all about, but what was your worries coming in?
I think the first worry that always came to my mind was when you're on the TEDx stage, how the hell do you remember that talk? I think that was the first thing that came to my mind. And the next thing was, I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I didn't know what my story was, or maybe subconsciously I knew what my story was, but I didn't know how to put it together. So these were the two main primary worries that I had was, A, what my talk was going to be, and B, whether I was going to remember it or not.
And well, please do share. What is the name of your talk so people can, search and find it as well?
It's called How to Move from Control to Connection.
Lovely. And tell us a little bit of details about your talk and idea, because it is a fascinating one. And I know we had some variations of it, and you got some keywords around the best friend, and it's a fascinating topic, and we worked in detail about this. Yeah.
So I talk about how can you better your relationship with your child by reducing the control and developing connection. And I mentioned 5 cornerstones around which you can base your relationship to connect more with your child. One of them, I begin with creating space for healthy conversations, because normally we as parents put a lot of uncomfortable topics under the carpet, and which kind of creates a gap between us and our children. So that was my first point. Then the second one was giving choices to your children. There is always a struggle of power between a child and a parent, especially in the teenage years. So I specify how when you give choices to a child, they feel in their heads that they're getting control. So it's much easier to have them come to a middle point where both of you can come and come to a consensus. So that's another one. Then, of course, we always compare and contrast our children to the neighbor's children, right? And that in the hope of motivating them. I think most parents think that if I turn around and tell my child that, you know what, look at the neighbor's child, he's doing so much, he's doing so well academically, he's so good, and he's getting a 4.5 GPA, and you're not. And we think we're motivating them. Actually, we're killing their motivation. We're telling them that, look, you're a failure. So how it's difficult, you should not compare your child. And then another one was judgment. We're very quick to judge our children. We form these notions in our head, oh, my child is very stuck. And that kind of prevents us from really building that connection. So coming from a place of complete non-judgment, non-comparison, these are the things that my talk is centered around.
Awesome.
If we consistently follow these, it can be very helpful to build that connection. So I would urge everybody to go click on that. It's how to move from control to connection.
Awesome. Love it. It's very handy having a TEDx that you can just send people in the general direction. And if they ultimately, if they search TEDx Dr. Unnatti Jain as well, it would likely pop up as well. So a few ways to find it. In terms of this process, what did you find helpful in work for you? What stood out in some of the things that were useful to you and helped you, get your idea to a point that you were ready to apply it and ultimately deliver the TEDx talk?
I think the entire process was very useful, but primarily the clearly articulated steps and the community, the Facebook community that Adam has, which also lays out, clear steps and clear to-dos in the videos, and how you block it from, you can't move from one video to the next, Anderson, until you've completed a particular step, kind of helps you get into that mindset of very slowly moving through the journey and learning what you have to learn before you move on to the next step. So that was super helpful. And of course, the one-on-ones with you are absolutely, they kind of put things in perspective. They're just great to have, because you can brainstorm with you and you come up with this immense TEDx knowledge that you have. You make the speaker look at things in a very different perspective. So think out of the box. So those are very helpful too.
Awesome. And in terms of timelines, I think I can remember, but was it rough? I mean, how many talks did you actually apply to? Was it 2, 3, 4? I know it wasn't a huge amount.
I actually applied to 3, and I applied to 2, and I got it. I don't remember, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But I got into 1, so it was definitely not more than 3.
Yeah. And roughly, and roughly it sticks. I know the 2 sticks in the memory as well, but I wasn't sure. That's 2 months from starting, I believe. You secured your TEDx talk. And then that was for what, like 3 months later, 2, 3 months later?
Yes.
Delivered your TEDx talk.
So So I applied to 2. I got into 1, and I got into 1 in January. I started with you in December. I got a talk in January, end of January, beginning of February. And as you specify one of your courses, you've got to give the right amount of time for you to get prepared to do the talks. So I was looking for talks in April, which is what happened. I got my talk around April 15th.
Awesome.
I applied for the talks which were supposed to happen in April.
Yep. And it doesn't always happen like that, but that is like I think realistically, that is about as, like, in timing wise, you absolutely nailed it. Like, it all aligned in terms of, like, that's for me, as obviously there's lots of external factors, but I'm thinking, well, that was like timing wise, dream scenario in terms of how many you applied, like how quick you landed it. Because I know when you started just before kind of the Christmas period and that time, and you went away on holiday as well, so we had a little break. But so it was all worked out good. So what was one of the unexpected benefits or something that surprised you for going through this whole process that maybe you weren't focused on at the start, in terms of getting your idea to the TEDx stage? What was something that you found beneficial?
The community. I think the back and forth and the group sessions that you have, bouncing it off other people, including you, every second week, was a great addition to learning more about what you're not doing right. Because I remember having a session with one of your, I think the girls was in London, one of her friends who just joined, and she gave me a completely different perspective. And she told me, look, I love your talk, but I don't know what you're talking about. So, it was just, and that's when it tells you, yes, I love your personal story, but as a listener, I don't know what I'm taking away from it. Yeah. So that back and forth with other people other than you was super helpful. Awesome.
Good stuff. Yeah, I was just thinking, I remember, I think one of your applications, I think, at one point, you kind of did you did a U-turn. You just rewrote everything. I did. Yeah, last minute, because I remember we got it to a certain point, and it just and I was just panic, and I was like, "What is this?" And
I know, and I came back to you, and you're like, "What is wrong with you? Like, what did you do?" I'm like, "I couldn't get you over the weekend, and I had to submit this, and I don't know what I did."
And that is sometimes going to happen. We got such a strong idea, and sometimes, overworking it, you can get away from the core, the strength of the idea and what was there. And we just had to, and it is tempting to just try and do, I think at that point it was you trying to say too much and do too much, and you obviously got so much knowledge, and it's tempting to just want to squeeze it all in there. So obviously less is more for sure. Okay. In terms of, I suppose, what's next for you? What's next for you? You're a TEDx speaker now. I know it's very, very new. You've obviously got it in your name there. I love that. So what's next for you? And what have you had any feedback and like some benefits, like in terms of people seeing your talk, friends, family, anything like that, or just anything around the whole experience that you feel you have left unsaid at this point? The floor is yours.
I think it kind of puts you out there as a thought leader. So I'm speaking a lot in summits. I'm speaking a lot on podcasts. I'm doing a lot of speaking opportunities. I'm getting a lot of speaking opportunities just with this. It puts you out as a subject matter expert in your field. It gives you more visibility, and it creates a brand.
Awesome.
Because TED is a beautiful stage, right? So if people automatically think that if you've been on that stage, then you're a conditioned speaker. You know, there's no other vetting that you need really after the TED stage.
100%. They put you through your paces. And if someone's listening to, you know, they've heard all what you've said so far, and they're checking me out, they found this some way, somehow, and they're on the fence and they're thinking of either reaching out or they've already reached out and they're not sure. I mean, what would you suggest to someone who's, you know, pretty clear that they want to do a TEDx? What would you say if they're thinking about working with me?
Jump into it. If you don't know anything and you only know that you want to do a TEDx talk, Adam is the person for you. He will put things in perspective. He'll guide you step by step. He'll hold your hand. He's extremely compassionate, does not judge you, is there for you whenever you need him. He's super responsible. If you know the only thing that you know is you want to be a TEDx speaker and you don't know anything beyond that, he's your man. Go for it.
If you know other stuff as well, you can still reach out to me. That is handy. Ideally, when you're an expert, it does help. But Unnatti, thank you so much for your time today. It has flown, but like a TEDx talk, we're going to keep it brief for the listeners. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for speaking to you again today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam. You're wonderful. Thank you so much.